Thank you very much, Mr Holloway. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship today, and I declare my interest as a proud member of the Cooperative Party, the sister party to the Labour Party, and one of the 25 Labour and Cooperative MPs. I'm very proud also to be taking part in this timely debate on the contribution to our economy of cooperatives. For me, a co-op is about more than a collection of shops and companies and enterprises, brilliant though they are. For me, cooperation is a sign that there's a better world possible than the one delivered by pure free market and small state ideology, and a better way to deliver social justice than overarching government and state control. In my mind, it's about three things. One, it's about the best instincts of decent people, the desire to work together, to play together, to get along with one another. This is the human instinct, to band together, to cooperate with one another, to offer selfless mutual support. Proof that we achieve more together than we do alone. Second, it's an international creed, with the cooperative movement as a truly international movement, because the values of decency apply across the continents, no matter which country you come from. And the third, the co-op has a celebrated history, but it's really all about the future. We know the story of the Rochdale pioneers all those years ago who started the first cooperative. But when it comes to the challenge of tomorrow, tackling global poverty, helping the poorest nations to build their economies and meeting the challenge of climate change, it's the cooperative ideal that best equips us to succeed. When I look at a co-op, I see a glimpse of the future and get a sense of what might be. And in so many ways, the cooperative movement prefigures the kind of society that I want to see. Democratic, equal, fair, just, accessible to all, and owned by everyone. And this is especially true in the current economic climate. The economic impact of Brexit is just starting to be felt, and there are very uncertain times ahead. The big changes are down the line, with fear, I know, even within my own constituency, that there are employers that might move to Dublin, Frankfurt or Madrid. And to survive Brexit, we will need new trading arrangements, access to new markets, new firms to fill the gaps. And this is where the co-op and mutual sector, with the emphasis on fair trade and trade justice, can step in. We wait to see what a government led by the Right Honourable Member for Maidenhead will bring. And I hope that she will maintain all workers' rights that are currently guaranteed by the EU. But again, it's the cooperative and mutual ideal that can be made to work for workers who are self-employed or in small firms. Freelancers in particular, we've just heard from my honourable friend, who can form cooperatives to protect themselves. And I also reflect on the example of the Musicians' Union that have supported and worked with the 50 music teachers in Cardiff, which is a really exciting and important example, and I hope that we'll see more like it. Co-ops can provide greater stability and support in a post-Brexit world of insecurity and risk. And, Chair, I think it's a real shame and a missed opportunity that we've so far seen in the coalition government and most recently the Tory government that pays so little attention to co-ops. We have come a long way since the days of the Conservative cooperative movement. I think that was one of the more audacious pieces of repositioning by the now former Prime Minister. I don't believe that the Conservative-led coalition was a friend to the co-op movement. We saw between 2010 and 2015 ministers withdrawing support for solar renewable energy cooperatives, forcing many to close down. We saw funding taken away from the Cooperative Schools project, which was making a real difference to many of our schools across the country. And we saw plans shelved for more cooperative sure starts and housing trusts. I'm also a passionate believer in education about alternative models of ownership, and still we see too many schools across our country, from primary right through to secondary school, where our young people are not learning about the cooperative and mutual alternative. And what about this government? Again, it will be interesting to hear what the Minister has to say, but I do believe that there is a better record that they could have had in this regard. I do welcome the announcement by the new Prime Minister that she intends to put employee representatives on the boards of companies, a policy which is advocated by the Cooperative Party, and I sincerely hope that a workable scheme is brought forward that we can all get behind. But I wonder what the new Prime Minister and the Minister with us today will make of the other policies that we cooperators have been championing. Having a proper scheme for all businesses that have more than 50 employees to be obliged to set up a profit-sharing scheme with their staff, with a minimum profit share pot set aside based on a calculation of its annual profits. We know from the Office for National Statistics that there are approximately 36,000 companies that would qualify in this bracket, affecting 12.9 million people in our country. I believe that would make a massive, massive difference. Introducing a duty to involve, with employees given a formal role in making decisions about how a company is run through works councils. The Cooperative Party is calling for all publicly listed companies to have a duty to involve their employees. Tax incentives for employee ownership. As it stands, the government is currently spending £615 million every year on tax incentives for employee ownership, which currently at the moment is very poorly targeted towards individual shareholdings and the remuneration of senior executives. Again, that could be refashioned to make sure that all employees benefit. And tax incentives for community energy. What could be better or more important than allowing companies to create their own energy and own it themselves? Not only to reduce our reliance on carbon sources and to do more to meet our renewables target, but actually to ensure that all people within a community can own their own energy. Again, over the last 2 years, the government has radically changed the regulatory environment for community renewable energy schemes, withdrawing tax incentives which encouraged community investment in those programmes, and I sincerely hope that they will revisit that. And tax incentives for sports clubs. Tax incentives should be used to ensure that sports clubs who are able to reach stringent criteria in terms of fan involvement and engagement are able to secure special tax status. And if we reflect on the Euro Championships football championships we've just seen, many of those star players played for cooperative clubs such as FC Barcelona, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. Indeed, in Germany, 33 out of 36 clubs in the Bundesliga are in fact cooperatives. So as the new Prime Minister formulates her plans for Britain post-Brexit, I hope that she will look to the co-op and mutual model for ideas. And just reflecting on my own area, I'm grateful to the House of Commons Library that put together a really extensive list of all the different co-ops, including the Lodge Lane Credit Union in my own constituency, which I'm proud to be a member of. It didn't include in the list a new co-op, a new cafe, which is just going to be on a road that goes through my constituency, and I wish them every success. And in conclusion, Mr Hollowbone, I say that co-ops and mutuals are about the future, not about the past. I'm proud to call myself a cooperator, and I will continue to campaign to ensure that we see more cooperatives and mutuals flourishing, and I look forward to the Minister's response.
Stevens.